Super Rugby Aotearoa, round number 2. The Chiefs are about to get underway in front of only 700 fans with the lockdown level 2 limiting the number of people that can attend the games. It means the Chiefs are limited to a home attendance of 700. It's kind of good that they managed to figure out a way to get it done safely. Apparently there's going to be people going in one entrance and one entrance only for each area that they're going to be sitting in. So it'll be still better than nothing. You remember that last Highlanders game of the season last year in front of nobody. It doesn't quite have the same feeling. So I'm sure 700 people will be something you can pick up on the camera. And it should be a good game if last season's anything to go by. Remember the first game of Super Rugby Aotearoa last year was that late drop goal for Bryn Gatland to get the win over his dad's team. Remember, his dad is now with the Lions and Bryn is now with the Chiefs, so he's playing on the other team. And the second game they played was also close. It wasn't a last-minute drop goal, but it was a big comeback, I think, from the Highlanders, wasn't it? Didn't the Chiefs have a big lead in that one? Or did they almost run them down? I can't remember. I remember it was one-sided, and then it really tied up. I'm pretty sure the Highlanders came from behind. Someone remind me. I'll go back and watch the highlights. But I know the score was 33-31. The Chiefs poor last time, but they did pick up a few losing bonus points. The Highlanders lost last week against the Crusaders 26-13 at home. They are now on the road. The Chiefs, none from none. It's their first game of the season, so it will be interesting to see where they are at. I'll go through the predictions in just a tick, but we'll have a look at the lineups first, and you guys can let me know your thoughts on how you reckon this one is going to go. Some excitement in the Chiefs lineup, to be fair. I mean, you've got Bryn Gatland starting in his first game for the Chiefs. That's good news. It means D-Mac is at 15, which is probably better for him than 10. He just loves having that extra bit of space that he gets at fullback here, so I'm pretty pleased to see him there. Interesting, it looks like Sean Wainui's in the midfield, which is he's usually a winger. That's an interesting call, but he's with ALB inside him, very experienced veteran to make sure everything goes smoothly. Jonah Lowe and Etienne Nana Saturo are the wingers. I think Jonah Lowe's his first game for the Chiefs since moving from the Hurricanes. First full game anyway. So yeah, pretty exciting backline. Brad Weber's co-captain at number 9. There's no Tuhurio Rangi because he is injured, so there's no Trask either. So both of those guys are injured. The bench is Stevenson, Nankiville, and Rowe in terms of your backs. Forwards, Ruben O'Neill is there alongside Takiaho and Mafaleo. That's the front row. Remember, Mafaleo signed from the Blues, so it's his first game for the Chiefs. They got a nice young, inexperienced, but came along leaps and bounds last year, locking duo in Tupa Va'i and Naitoa Akoi. Remember, Va'i ended up playing for the All Blacks, and Akoi, I think he got injured towards the end of the... Was it the end of the Aotearoa season? I can't remember, but I remember both these guys weren't very well known last year, and suddenly they are both really hot prospects for New Zealand rugby. Finau is an interesting call at blindside. Then Sam Kane, experienced guy, All Black captain. He is co-captain on open side, and Luke Jacobson is number 8. Saw Kula is injured, so that's why he's not there. And also Lachlan Boshia is injured as well, so no signs of him either. Karpik's on the bench, Mitch Brown, Ta'avao, Slater. So yeah, it's a pretty good looking Chiefs team. Clayton McMillan's in charge with Gats overdoing the Lions thing. So yeah, it's going to be a big point for them to prove after, like I said, a pretty disappointing 2020 for Aotearoa. Remember, they beat the Crusaders in regular Super Rugby. So it was a bit of a turnaround. Highlanders have kept things relatively stable. Still Dan Leonard Brown, Ash Dixon, and Seate Tokolahi. They'll need to be better at scrum time, but they're not up against that Crusaders pack, which is a big difference. Josh Dixon and Jack Regan continue on as locks. Frizzell's still blindside, so he'll fancy his chances, but Sam Kane will be looking to keep him pretty quiet. Billy Harmon gets a crack at 7, and Mikaeli Tu'u is number 8. And I think he could run right as well. I think the Chiefs would rather have Saw Kula, but Luke Jacobson's good. So, I don't know. I just like the idea of Sokula and Mikaeli Tu'u going in it because they're both real ball-carrying 8s. Fakatava is an interesting one. He gets a start at 9. Now remember, Aaron Smith just signed an extension to go through to the 2023 Rugby World Cup. And if he's staying, that means Fakatava is essentially saying, if I want to stay too, I'm going to be the number 2 guy. But this is the Highlanders saying to him, if you want to stay as well, we'll still give you some minutes. Like some proper minutes, not just 20 minutes at the end of the game. Remember, he came on 57 minutes last week. They definitely need to give this guy minutes, otherwise he's going to leave. Like, the Blues would love to have Folau Fakatava, I'm sure. They're not the only ones. There's a few teams with some either not like elite level halfbacks, or maybe some halfbacks who are getting towards the latter stages of their career, maybe looking for an overseas contract, maybe looking for a trip to Japan at some point soon. Fakatava is one of the youngest up-and-coming, real hot prospect guys who plays halfback, so if the Highlanders want to keep him, they're going to have to play him, and they are doing that this week, so that's good news for him. Josh Ioane gets a start, which means Mitch Hunt is still starting, but he's moved to fullback. Tompkinson and Punivai as the midfield. Nareki was really good last week on the left wing. He continues on. Likewise, Conagard and Bishop. It means Alamalo moves to the bench. Aaron Smith moves to the bench. They've only got the two backs because Renton is on the bench in 23. Extra loose forward. They got Liam Squire. Selby Ricketts coming to the squad. And then Thwaites, Honeck, and Coltman round things out. Remember, still no Paripari Parkinson. He is injured. So, yeah. It'll be a really interesting one to watch, because honestly, the Highlanders last week, they were competitive for long periods, but I feel like their tactical decisions at times were wrong. Like, they went for 9 mauls up against the Crusaders, and that's just asking for trouble. Maybe the Chiefs pack will be more vulnerable to that kind of thing, but the Crusaders just, they lapped that stuff up. So I feel like it was a poor bit of decision making to go for it again and again and again after it wasn't working. They should have switched it up earlier. I would expect the Tony Brown side to be a bit sharper than that. Maybe this week they'll go back to the maul, but if they get stopped, I hope they switch it up a bit earlier than they did last week. For the Chiefs, it's just going to be interesting to see how they go with a new coach. Mostly the same playing squad, a new guy running the show at 10 with Bryn Gatland, but yeah, should be interesting. The bookies have got the Chiefs by 3, and the Rugby Forecast algorithm has got the Chiefs by 6. So they are favourites to get the job done at home on Friday in front of 700 fans. I know most of you guys sort out your broadcast, but for you guys in North America, I haven't heard anything about who the official broadcaster is going to be yet. I think they're still working on it. Remember, Europe's gone to RugbyPass along with most of Asia. But North America doesn't yet have a broadcaster. So the people I know who have been watching it from North America, if you're willing to go down that route, is the VPN plus Stan, which is the Aussie service, because they've been doing a 1-month free trial. So if you get your VPN, I've got one that I use, I'll put in the description. But yeah, Stan's service has been the one to watch, because that gets AU and Aotearoa, whereas the RugbyPass one for Europe and Asia is only doing Aotearoa, no AU. Depends if you want to watch it or not. But anyway, Chiefs, Highlanders should be a good game. You guys let me know what you reckon. And yeah, I'll talk to you again soon. See you later.